Friends, Doc South here. Wait a minute. Are we? Ah, I'm sorry, friends. The set is kind of lopsided here. Mr. Thumb, Mr. Thumb, huh? My stagehand, Mr. Thumb. Where are you, sir? Come on. Hey, no, look. See? Yeah, I know. Well, it's not level. Get your ruler out and look it over. Okay, here. Now I'll help you. Okay. You got it? You think? Now bend it back that way. Push. Okay. Gosh, what's going on with this thing? It's crazy. Okay, I think it's just about there. Just don't. Oh, let me get back here. Did you get back behind the? No. Okay. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's. Gosh, what's going on? Do I have what? Well, I know you're on your break, but no, but yeah, well, but uh, okay. I guess we'll have to do with it being lopsided. Okay. Yeah, no, I know your coffee's getting cold. Please don't. Yeah, there you go. Oh, yeah. Good, huh? Yes. Okay. Oh, great. Now you bumped it again. God, I love a duck. I tell you what, go get your donuts. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, bring me one too, will you? Chocolate icing? Okay, thanks. Mr. Thumb heading off. Okay, Doc South here, and it's the other day. I had this thing. I DJ a lot at senior care centers, and I love doing it. I love bringing the old tunes to senior citizens. I guess I'm one myself anymore. Got older than dirt. But there's people who are actually older than me. No, believe it or not, and it's fun to entertain them, and they love just about anything you can do, and popping out some neat old tunes from their heyday. Oh, almost always puts a smile on their face. Almost always, and the other thing I notice, well, it was a while back. I I kind of got a revelation about how patriotic these folks are, and that's great. It's absolutely great. They in most cases they came from generations that served well, just like our generation too. Our present day soldiers are, I think, top of the line and seem to be just wonderful people. And God knows they defend us very well indeed. And I guess they got it from their grandparents, great grandparents, and their parents, and etc. But which is fantastic. But uh, I again, they're from modern days, and I don't necessarily know the music they would be interested in. But I do know of the older folks, and I'm amazed. Like I said, if I play a song that has even the slightest of patriotic flair to it, they're going out of their minds. They just love it, and of course, it all culminates in the with the national anthem. There was one place where they've been asking me. I show up and I play tunes, and they listen, and we talk about some of the songs and that kind of thing. But one day, one said. I said, actually, I think it was me. I said, would you folks like me to play the national anthem someday? I don't have it here tonight, but maybe another time, or this afternoon, another afternoon. And they said, yeah, yeah, we'd really like that. And I said, well, okay, I'll make a note. So I brought the anthem to this particular spot one time, and they. And I remember I'm looking across the room at various folks who are in wheelchairs. Some have crutches, or walkers. And I said, now listen, I'll play it, but you can just sit and put your hand over your heart. You do not have to stand. And, and guys, if you're in the service, you don't have to salute. Just sit and enjoy the song. I know you love America. You don't have to. Well, you should have. You should have. You should have heard the commotion. Oh, we're getting up. I said, no, but you can't. No, please, you got it. I don't want you we're getting up. I said, oh, okay. Oh, and now I'm getting a little worried. I start the anthem. I think it was Whitney Houston's rendition, right? Okay, Whitney. And darned if they weren't all, in many cases, some of them, they had to struggle, but darned if before the song was done, they were up. They were up and either saluting or hanging on with one hand and hand over the heart with the other. They were up, every last person. And there was a few, man, I was kind of glad when they all got back down sitting, in good shape. But they clapped and applauded. Oh, they just loved it. They just loved it. Honestly, it could get you choked up. It really, really could. There was like once at the Chatterbox. There was, how we used to play the anthem at the Chatterbox on Saturday night. I think it was right at 6 o'clock, as close as we could to 6. And there was a family there, the little kids, the teenagers, mom and dad, grandparents, and then great grandpa, who was in a wheelchair. I think about he could eat with soup. That the teeth were gone and all that, and he's very, very, very old. In fact, I think they might have even been feeding him, a spoonful of ice cream and like that. He'd just he'd be shaking, he'd get the ice cream all over himself, and but he was having a ball. Yeah. Well, I got you couldn't always hear me at the Chatterbox make announcements. It just was too noisy in the place. You'd hear the music. And they were getting ready the family had finished their meal. They were getting Grandpa into his wheelchair. They're going to take him. Actually, he was in his wheelchair, but they were working on getting him arranged so they could get him out and all that. You know how you put the feet rests down so that if you're moving, they don't get their foot caught under the wheel and all that. Okay. Well, they're doing that, and I'm playing the anthem. Now, all of a sudden they're starting to go. Everyone else has got their they're up, standing with their hand over their heart, looking at the flag at the Chatterbox, and that fella saw what was going on, and he insisted. He actually, it probably took all his strength, but he got his feet down on the floor and stopped the wheelchair. And then I think he was grabbing at the brakes. He did not want to leave. And he's starting to try to get up. He's starting, and eventually I think his teenage great-grandchildren had to get him by the arms, and maybe dad, maybe one of the kids' father. They got him up, and he stood as best he could at attention for the national anthem. When it was over, he got back down, and they wheeled him out. And he's kind of like fist pumping. He did. What a sweetheart. And the family waved and got the like the 3 ring sign you get, and they were very, very tickled. It's amazing. I like playing songs for if I know there's different war era veterans. If I know what song to play or if I have it, I love playing it for them. Like for World War II veterans, Don't Sit Under the Apple Tree is a big one. Okay, they love that. You see them singing along to it. Hey, don't sit under the and all that. Yeah. Korean War veterans. It's usually one that the soldiers especially liked was "Work With Me, Annie." By it was a raunchy old doo-wop tune by the Hank Ballard and the Midnighters. Very, very popular with Korean War veterans. In fact, to the point where I was at a spot one day, a care facility, there was an old timer in one of those wheelchair bed kind of things, and he's laid out, pretty much laying down with just his head raised a little, and he's pretty much most of the show he was almost comatose or asleep. He they could bring him maybe a little bit of the refreshments and he'd get a little nibble of ice cream or something, but he was very, very, very weak and pretty much almost in and out, I would say, of consciousness. And I looked, I said, I asked someone, and they said, yeah, he's from the Korean War, veteran there. He was over in Korea. I said, well, I think I know a song. Let me go. And I found Work With Me, Annie. I played it, and that fella, his eyes opened just a little bit, and he got this real glint, like like in his mind, maybe he was in a tavern with his buddies, and that song was playing. You could almost see him looking for his beer. It was a good thing. It was a good thing. He was just having a ball with it. Vietnam veterans, I know if I play like at VFWs or American Legions, usually, well, of course, now the Vietnam veterans are getting up there in age. And they'll usually someone will come over and say, "Hey, do you have that Tony Bennett song?" I said, "What, Left My Heart in San Francisco?" I said, "Sure. I wouldn't walk in here without it." And that was evidently the song that was kind of a sentimental favorite for the Vietnam era soldiers. I guess, from what I understand, many of them left, disembarked for Vietnam by way of an airport in the San Francisco area. Might have been San Francisco Airport. I don't know, but might have been a military base. I would think it would have been. And that's where they went to. That's the plane the airport they left. The last they saw of America was looking back out of the window of the plane at, if they could, at America and San Francisco passing below. And it's also, I believe, where they would return, I think, as near as I know. And it's and that one always kind of gets to them. They usually, if their wife's in the room, they find their wife and kind of dance with her to that. Yeah, neat. And of course, and there's, what's the other one? The Animals do. We got to get out of this place. Yeah, if it's the last thing we ever do. Yeah, that's a biggie too. And again, modern day conflicts, I'm not entirely sure. I wouldn't have, I guess, what the younger veterans would want, but it's if I did, of course, I'd play it for them. But it's rather interesting how music kind of goes with the soldier, sort of, and stays in their minds. I know when I do the fireworks at in the town of Washington, New Jersey, one of the people up with the committee that puts the show together, a Marine officer, I think fairly well placed. I play the Marine Corps hymn. He's at attention saluting. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And well, so there you go. I just thought I'd mention it's kind of interesting to see how the music kind of mellows. I guess brings back pleasant memories of their service time, and maybe with a little melancholy too. But it seems to serve a purpose, and I don't know. I just thought I'd mention. But honestly, the older folks, they really do have a major love of country. It's a fascinating thing to see, and kind of cool. I don't know. I just thought I'd say. Anyway, we'll see you later. Thank you, friends, and God bless. Bye now.